Imagine being the boss of a company worth millions, but no one in the office knows. Now picture walking into your own business, disguised as a broke cleaner, just to see who respects you when they think you're nothing. That's exactly what Vivian Carter, a powerful CEO, did. But she never expected that in the middle of her secret test, a struggling single father with a mop in his hand would sweep his way, not just into her company's story, but straight into her guarded heart. Stay with me, because this story will change the way you see respect, love, and the true meaning of worth. If this inspired you, spread the hope, like, share, comment and subscribe for more stories. Vivian Carter was only 35, but her name already carried weight in the corporate world. Elegant, sharp, and intimidating, she was the kind of woman who could walk into a boardroom and silence it with a glance. Yet beneath her polished exterior, there was a nagging question that money couldn't answer. Do people respect me for who I am, or just for what I own? After a string of betrayals, including a fiancé who admitted he loved her wealth more than her heart, Vivian decided to run an unusual experiment. She left behind her designer suits, her chauffeured car, and her nameplate office. Instead, she returned to her company's headquarters disguised as an ordinary janitor. Faded jeans, a plain gray hoodie, and an old baseball cap became her uniform. Her staff believed she was a new hire named Anna. For the first week, Vivian observed. She noticed how some employees barely nodded at her, while others barked orders, treating her like invisible dirt. Only a handful showed kindness. And then there was him. Ethan Miles. 32. Broad-shouldered but tired-eyed. Always in his janitor's uniform, mop in hand, moving quietly across the marble floors. He wasn't just cleaning, he worked with a strange kind of dignity, as if even the smallest task mattered. Vivian noticed how he treated her. The new girl. He didn't ignore her. He didn't mock her. Instead, he smiled. Offered her coffee from his own thermos. Showed her how to fix the stubborn mop bucket wheels. And once, when she asked why he worked so late, Ethan simply shrugged and said, "Because my little girl is asleep at home. I'd rather be tired than miss dinner with her." That single sentence echoed in Vivian's heart. She saw no greed in his eyes, no hunger for power, only love for a child she had never met. But what stunned her most wasn't his words. It was the way he looked at her, like she was a person, not just the help. Vivian had everything money could buy, yet for the first time in years, she felt seen. Weeks passed. Vivian grew closer to Ethan. She learned that his wife had passed away 2 years earlier, leaving him to raise 6-year-old Lily alone. Money was always tight, but he never complained. Instead, he worked double shifts, keeping hope alive with bedtime stories and peanut butter sandwiches. Vivian's heart softened. She found herself lingering after work, helping him mop hallways, listening to him talk about life. And in those moments, the walls she had built around herself began to crack. But the experiment had to end. The board of directors had begun to grumble about the CEO's mysterious absence. Vivian knew it was time to reveal the truth. The next morning, the staff was called to the main lobby. Employees whispered nervously as a woman in a sleek black dress and heels stepped onto the stage. It was Anna, the janitor, except now, her hair was styled, her presence commanding. Vivian Carter revealed her true identity. Gasps filled the room. The same people who had ignored her scrambled to look respectful. But Vivian's eyes weren't on them. They were on Ethan, who stood frozen, mop in hand, disbelief painted across his face. Later, she found him alone, staring at the floor. "So, you're the boss," he said quietly. "Yes," she admitted. "But when I was with you, I wasn't a boss. I was just, me. Ethan chuckled bitterly. Guess I should have treated you like royalty. Vivian shook her head. No. You treated me better than royalty. You treated me like a human being. And that's something I'll never forget. For the first time in years, Vivian's eyes welled with tears. Ethan hesitated, then gently placed his calloused hand over hers. You don't need to be tested anymore, Vivian, he said softly. Because the right people don't care about your title. They care about your heart. Months later, the company had changed, not just in policy, but in culture. Employees were trained to treat everyone with dignity, from CEO to janitor. And in a quiet suburb on a Sunday afternoon, Vivian laughed as little Lily tugged her hand, pulling her into the backyard. Ethan stood at the grill, watching with a smile that was no longer weighed down by loneliness. Vivian had started her test to see who she could trust. She never expected that, in the process, she would find the family she didn't know she was searching for. Because sometimes, the truest riches aren't in the bank. They're in the hands you hold, and the hearts that choose you, not for your money, but for your love. No matter what title you carry, or how much is in your wallet, your true worth is shown in how you treat others. Respect has no uniform, and love has no disguise.